Peace and power, everybody. This is Aisha Shaheed of All Neighborhoods Powerfully United, right here in Houston, Texas. And we on episode 3 of the government shutdown, the stop of SNAP benefits. We're talking about community gardens in this episode, as well as it being election day. So I have the pleasure of being with a great community organizer when it comes to community gardens and food sovereignty. He's helped so many people all over the city of Houston, and I'm sure in other surrounding cities and states, create community gardens and come up with plans and programs to be able to sustain these underprivileged communities. And so, without further ado, I'm going to let our good brother introduce himself, Brother Kelvin Williams, the urban farmer.
Uh, like to say hi, hello to everybody. Uh, you know, born in 1964. They tell me it was a great year. The things I've seen is exactly what the results of today. What was done in the past, the consequences here now. And I just know that what was given to me as a child from my mother, even in the politic world, about them bringing the country folk to the city and putting them in the ghettos and telling them they'll give them this. So this is where we get into that part is the different philosophies that they used to teach us in school when it come to communism, or democracy, and the whole understanding of how we communicate. But I come because what was given to me was the Bible as far as the understanding of everything that we do. So in all situations, what I'm looking at is I read about it already. I've been reading about it all my life. And the experience of what we experiencing is just what we choose to do with it. You know what I'm saying? And when I say what we choose to do with it, how we choose to look at each other, because we all got a past. And
Right.
somebody don't want to hear somebody else's past, and they only want to acknowledge their past, whether it be good or bad. And I could talk about it good or bad, but just from what I know is it's always been about who you can work with, who you can get along with, because that's what my mother taught me. And I wasn't raised to fight. We was raised to work with each other in the community. So I was trained by men who built our community, physically built it. My great great grandfather, John Busby, Papa Busby, we got history here in the city. And not only that, but I got history in the country up in East Texas. We talking about the land. We start talking about the land. We own these lands before these trains and these highways came through. So, they've never really wanted us to be at the head and in leadership. And I bring that all the way back to 1917, the first race ride. They call it a mutiny. They put it against the Buffalo Soldiers, not against the city of Houston and the people and HPD and the mentality they had about my forefathers as far as them being capable of taking care of their own community. Now we're talking about Democratic Republican, because that's what it became. Just like the Crips and the Bloods, you pick a side. I'm not on the government side in the sense the way the government governs God's children, God's people. The government would have us to do something against God's will. And I'm just in nature, and in nature in the garden, it's just how I teach. It's how
Yeah.
I grow the community. It's how I explain with having a reference point. So they done taught us to fight on every level, that even when it come to election, just because we got all these different people and we know some of them, just because somebody else favors somebody else and they out for their people, you can't be mad at them. That's why racism has to be over with, in the sense that ain't nothing wrong with me fighting for my people. And there can't nobody tell me something wrong with that. But somehow when I do it, somehow your own people would turn against you because they favoring staying on the plantation. Hence why we in the situation we in right now with
Right.
when it
So
comes to big food stamps.
right.
I had a garden. I had a garden. I had a farm all over. Still got some of them, but I don't have the resources that I used to
So
have.
let me
But the
so let me so
resources
let
are
me
available.
so let me
Hmm?
so let me tap in with you because you on the road. You tapped in on a lot of different things right there in a few minutes. So and I'm happy that you are because it's so much. It's a lot that people are not aware of. They're not paying attention to, and or how all of these things are tied in together. And so it's all tied in. So I appreciate you tapping in on so many different things that we will try to tap onto when I ask you these questions. But um as a urban farmer, as somebody who has created gardens, who have gardens currently, I just want to ask you, and also growing up being from Fifth Ward, um, which is also a community that like many others, like Trinity Gardens and Cashmere Gardens were once very thriving Black communities, and now we see them very under depreciated, not getting much attention at all, um, and kind of being left behind. And so, before we get into that, I want to ask you, um, how did your journey to urban farming begin? Like, what got you into wanting to beautify communities with gardens, and like what was your purpose with that?
Well, I'll give you my start. My start is my mama used to make us do a garden every year on the side of the house, pulling all the weeds, grass out. I done been through it, so I know it could be done. But it was probably back in 2012 that I decided that that's what I wanted to make sure that I got out, and that's what I had to offer to the community. First of all, because the remedies that my mom had when we was coming up as children came through my grandma. Now, my grandma is from East Texas, and I can tell you about them being indigenous and her daddy being, a descendant of slaves. So we talking about a mixture of people. So when we start talking about people, we cousins in the sense that we mixed already. You know what I'm saying? There's so many generations mixed all the way down now that somehow we think uh, that we supposed to get with everybody, but there's a tribe of people that's built to take care of nature. And I found that out by doing gardening and farming. That's why if people don't want to do it, you can't make them. You know what I'm saying? They
Yeah,
actually made them farm when it came to slavery and the way they abused them and stuff. And so now, as people of descendants of slaves, we don't want to do that no more. That's been trained out of us. You know what I'm saying? And now we done got to the point of need and necessity because we can't afford the medication. You know what I'm saying? But the problem is we've been without it so long and relying on the government and the way they set it up for us to get stuff much easier. Then we start looking at what is communism, socialism, and all the isms that we got about, how we take
yeah,
care of each other. That's why each tribe knows what it needs, and when they know what they need, then we have to know how to trade within each other. You know, the goods. That's what we talking about dividing up the land. The land is good everywhere, but if you don't know how to work it, so we done taught that mentality that them resources that come out of the ground, it has to be oil, or it has to be diamonds, or it has to be gold. There's many other things to harvest and to trade within each other, and that's where it come to be about being fair. And when I say God's people, I'm talking about the people who have the heart for God's nature, and God's nature is in nature itself. And if we go
right,
with the farm bill, you know what I'm saying? When we worry about the farmers, but they left out certain groups when it come to farming, and then they got into big farmer. You know what I'm saying? We got big
right,
farm, big farmer. We don't have the small things where we got communities coming together and trading with markets, skill trades and talent. We manufacturing stuff in order to move tons of it rather than for our community. So that's where we are right now. we are at taking care of our community street by street, neighborhood by neighborhood, community by community. Not by this thing about, oh, they do this and I can't mess with them. It's communities. So your community is somebody you can work with. And I do that in the garden. And the garden is how I teach, over and over again. I don't know if I got off subject matter either. It was something else you asked me too.
No, I was just asking you. What got you into on the journey of farming, urban farming. But you did mention that your mother got you into that,
Yeah,
and so
that's the biggest. That's the biggest one. That once she taught me that we could get it done. It's a belief that it can be done. Once you see it, then you can do it over and over again. That's why I go through these seasons. And that's what I ask people to do because we going through a season. And if you don't prepare, so right now we in harvest time, we in, seed, planting, seed saving, you know what I'm saying, storing up, and right now the condition that people in, it shouldn't be no problem right now, even though they done cut off the snap. Because you got to remember the snap has been zoom zooms and wham whams anyway. And people can say that they going out buying good stuff. Some people do, but you got to remember in these neighborhoods where we say they need them at, when you go in the stores, them zoom zooms and wham whams in there for them to buy. That's just like in the penitentiary. It's just, the stuff that they give you the stuff to eat, but this is the stuff for your pleasure. So I think our mindset need to change in how we look at that. And if you get in the garden right now with the juicing that I've been doing, just making the different teas and giving people a different taste of stuff, and they feeling the difference and they telling me that it's working. I'm not telling them. I offer it to them for taste. And in the taste and me telling them what's the benefits of actually drinking it and putting it in your body, and they actually feeling it. Because when we take them ginger shots, I like to do that. I like to do that with people so we can experience it together. That's why everything is not really for a conversation. It's for of getting down and building and working something and growing something together.
yeah. And so my next question to you is: I know you mentioned about the seasons and um the spiritual aspects, and using your hands. And so my next question I want to ask you um is, can you speak on the spiritual and cultural importance of growing your own food? I know that many people haven't or can't go back in their ancestry bloodline, but I have, and I know that when I went back, a lot of my ancestors lived on farms, and they had farms, and they were doing farming, and they had animals and things of that nature. And so I know that we have kind of been far removed from that. So can you again speak on the spiritual and cultural importance it is for Black Americans on why we should be growing our own food and creating our own gardens?
Right. Well, one thing I can tell you for sure, it's a universal thing. We grow certain things in certain parts of the country and stuff, but that's the beauty of coming together, having something to trade, something that somebody else don't have or can't do. So it's a relationship thing. And when we get to the point that we depend on the government to do it for us, they stocking it up. And so we do have people who just empower and who like to manipulate. But when we do it on the street level, when I say on the street level, block by block, neighborhood by neighborhood, somebody grows some here, they always grow more than what they need. They always sharing it with somebody. Then not only that, but that's a connection. It's a spiritual connection because it says that you are in communion together because we're going for survival. You know what I'm saying? We want to heal ourselves. It's good stuff.
Mm-hmm.
People come to me for good stuff, not bad stuff. So
Mm,
the importance of it on the spiritual level is once you get in the garden, nature is what's giving it to you. The sun, the cold, the dirt, the hurt, the nails, the continuation, the ooh, what's that? The discovery. It's so much in that. It's so much in there for stimulation for our six senses to come together on what it takes to grow our community. If you can grow a garden, you can grow a community because you automatically somebody gonna see it and they gonna say, "Oh, I didn't know that." It's a conversation. It's a connection. Just it's tribal. It's it's
It's
it's
true.
all over the world. It's universal language. No matter if you don't even speak the language, I guarantee you somebody say, "What's that?" And you gonna show it to them and tell them in your language, and they gonna and then you will cook it up and they'll taste it and then they say, "I do it this way." It's a fun thing, that's what it is to me.
Right.
Right.
And so,
So
you talked about you touched on the SNAP benefits, and November 1st, this past Saturday, um, they shut off the SNAP benefits, and people have been posting that they're not getting SNAP benefits anymore. And you got and I have been a person who has been of assistance by SNAP benefits as a single woman. I don't have any children, and when I did have them many years ago, I did need them. As a young person, getting on their feet, getting their own apartment, on things like that, working, trying to make everything make sense. And so now you have families, like my brother, and his wife. They have like 5 children, and things of that nature, and it does assist them. Um, with families seeing a reduction or even a complete stop in SNAP benefits, um, what have you witnessed when it comes to food access? Like, what have you seen or what have you heard lately? People coming to you and saying who may have those benefits, but now they no longer have them.
okay, so let's go back to Corona.
Yeah,
The food bank, the food bank. I've been in this argument with people with food banks for the longest. You a food bank, but you getting stuff subsidies from all these grocery stores and all these whatever you got left over, and you pay to truck it there, and you get it there, and you distribute it out. I've been part of that program since it started. I've asked them, even with their waste, on doing farming and garden, because if they're a food bank, they need to be able to print their money. And printing their money is having their own farms and garden. The politicians have failed the community by thinking that the government can take care of people. I'm gonna say this again. The food stamps and what they benefit, the subsidies that I can show people how to get, that's going to sustain them a whole lot better and get them a whole lot more confident, because there
yeah,
are some alternative things to be done besides just food stamps. And because it's been abused, because all the different ways that it's been abused, we already know. I've been a part of it. I've often said I was at St. John's United Methodist downtown with the homeless. I know we had over a couple of $1 million coming through in checks from the government. The dope man got
yeah,
that. And then you turn around, you get food stamps, everybody selling them 2 for 1. So, no matter how they do it, it's gonna get used up, but that money goes straight back to the government, because the government is the one who giving these stores these tax breaks and all this here. So for us taking that, we basically saying that we want the government to take more money away from us so they could do what they want to do with it, rather than we keeping our own money. Not only that, but
right,
we acting like that we living really and they giving us something good, because the stuff in the stores, you don't even know what it is no more. They supposed to keep us healthy and keep us safe, but we finding out 10 years down the road, this is causing the very thing that we supposed to be eating to keep us from getting.
right.
So what the government is giving us is not what we need. God ordained work for man. I'm not saying people don't deserve that and what you call, but guess what? How many we this day 4? Am I right?
Yes, it's day
What,
4.
so what done happen? What done
Which
happen? I mean, they ain't got no benefits, so what done happen?
I
They done
mean,
more people done came out, and more food bank trucks are running all over the place.
right,
And they want
correct,
people to come
correct,
get in line. And they want people
correct.
to volunteer and give it away for free. They don't want to pay nobody. I don't know how to explain this here, but if people are working consistently together on a daily basis, there is nothing to worry about, because you got it what you going to them for. But if you're not
Right.
working with the people in your community, you study going over there. I don't want to say a handout because it ain't like they ever gave me nothing anyway. My mama couldn't get food stamps.
Yeah.
My mama worked and all of us worked and helped pay bills and did, and we lived however we live. And a lot of people, I'm living in the worst condition I ever lived in right now. Ain't
Hmm.
nobody helping me. Ain't nobody helping me. You know what I'm saying? The help they got ain't what I need. The help that I need is just for people to stand up and say, let's go to work. And then they won't even talk to you because if you don't agree with them about politics, they're not gonna help you anyway. They not help. I could have did this for the whole community. This wouldn't be no problem. I feed people on a regular basis like it ain't nothing and been doing it. So the government
And
ain't doing more than what we could do for ourselves because they gonna turn it off. We don't have to turn it off. We can keep it going. It's been us feeding each other. It ain't been them. We the one doing all the sacrificing. People sacrifice to go do them food banks. Everybody think that's easy,
right.
passing out all that food. Everybody think that's easy. It's not easy. It's hard to get people out there to do that. Somehow it's
You
supposed to
absolutely
make people feel good. And then that ain't nothing but a couple of meals anyway. It's not enough to sustain you throughout the month.
right.
You know,
And so
that's how I'm just telling you I lived it. I'm living it.
no, and you're right, and that means that to sustain yourself the whole month, that means you're gonna have to go to the food bank every week, in order to do that. And so my next question to you is, today's election day. It's a very important election that's happening in Houston. How do you see politics connecting with food justice and land access?
And all of it's definitely tied all together because it's the people that you put in position, what their understanding of what your community needs. This is a local election. When I say local, it just so happened that District 18, because the Democratic Party chose two other people to bag and they gone, they not here, and we don't have nobody speaking on our behalf right now in District 18. I'm in District 18 in Fifth Ward. I'm in District 18 in Independent Heights, and District 18 go a long way around. And now they done start talking about redistricting and they still arguing. When it come to politics, when it come to Democrats and Republicans, if they saying this one did that one and this one did this, and they not talking about how we could work together, and I don't want to get in no arguments because one gonna tell this story and it's gonna sound good, and the other one gonna tell this story that ain't gonna sound and it sound good.
Right.
Either way it go, we in the position because they put us in this position. They put us in this position. They say believe in them. They've been in there too long. It's time to pass it on to the young people. It's time for us to
Yeah.
have people who qualified. And as what I say, I'm not with the government. I'm not with people who trying to make a career out of it. I'm looking for people who know that what God called them to do. Because if God people get what they need, everybody else gonna get what they need. We're not holding nothing back from nobody because it's free knowledge about what it is to receive with nature. And if you vote for people who have a certain mentality, which that's what they saying, you're gonna get what you getting right now, fighting. But that's
Right.
what we want. We want people, and we don't want to have people who just gonna literally tell you the truth that you could live with it because we want to fight until we find somebody who agree with us. And how can two walk together unless they agree? We coexisting in the world. This is a local election. This is not about Democrats and Republicans anyway. This is about personal people that we know that's working on behalf of our community. You can't
Yes.
be in another community and tell me what we need over here. I can come to you and say, how can I help you? But I can't come telling you what to do in your community. So I've been in all these communities through the garden and farming, and resources is what's needed. And that's what I prepare and pass around as easily as I can do it. But I can't fight people to do it. And when it comes to
Absolutely.
politics, when it come to politics, they fight you. They fight you because they got these different nonprofits fighting over this money. And when you talking about over this money, money make people do things. They got all kind of songs that tell you about money. Money is just a means to an end for us working together. Some people use money to control people. Some people feel better with money. Either way it go, I just want to use it to get to the point where everything that nature has for us, that everybody know how to receive it and take care of it. And the
Got
politicians, if they don't know how to do that, because some of them been politicians all their life, they don't know how to fix nothing. So how they gonna tell us about our infrastructure? You know what I'm saying? They don't need if
right,
they don't. I qualify because all the trades that I know. I don't work with these people. I go to their houses. They don't know nothing. All they know
right.
is they playing guessing games with us. They playing Russian roulette, and we playing the same thing. But we do know right now the condition that we in is on the Democrats and the Republicans. It's only the ones who can work together. And what I say is remove everybody who been in politics and let the people come that that's willing to talk to each other. And so I don't care if you're Democrat or Republican. If you ain't willing to help me, the urban farmer, I don't want no parts of it because right now the condition I'm in by my land, yeah.
So my next question to you is, we got people out here. Hopefully they're out there voting. You get people who are not voting, people that still are, up about if voting really works and things like that. So my next question is, what would you like voters, especially in historically underrepresented communities and neighborhoods, to understand how local elections do impact food systems and gardens?
Well, I can tell you it's a guy by the name of Aubrey Taylor. He keeping up pretty good with the politics and how all this is, broken down. But like I say, the mentality of the people that whom we put in office, if they not talking to me as far as what I represent for my community with farming and gardening in the schools, all the different ideas that I have, that they refuse to work with me, knowing that I work with other different nonprofits and they being selfish with it. The main thing that I would say is that uh, for me, all the people who know me that's doing what they doing, keep doing it, but we have to do it not in silos, but do it in the sense that we know what each other are doing, so we're not in competition. And not only
Yes,
that, but that we could begin to grow together. And we all can't show up and be at the same places, but what we can do is decide to make sure that our language about what we're doing as far as growing our community is consistent, and that could go across the board with politics. That if they don't have that on forefront and it's not transparent, and every neighborhood should have access to that, I don't even think that nothing should be voted on because everybody should know how to and where food come from. And that's all we doing is giving them a basic human right to know how to use nature to get what it needs.
right.
Now, a lot of language and stuff and how people do it as far as when it comes to spirituality and religion and what set you from and all that, and what group and the name. Hey, leave me out of that because I'm gonna stick to one thing. I'm growing food, and that's the subject matter. You want to talk about other subject matter, you're gonna get mad at me and you ain't gonna want to work with me. But if you want to work with me, then let's stick to how we growing. And that's a subject matter that I want to stay focused on. You know, all the other subjects come right up under that, because nature is teaching us and we learning together. I don't claim to know everything and I'm not even trying to act like that. But what I am saying is that we have to have an agreement and stick to it, and so we can follow a whole season together. And then at the end of the season, we can sit there and look at it and say, "Hey, you harvested this, you got this, and you got that, and this how we did it. You want to do it again? Let's go for another season." So that's the way the continuation of the contracts that need to go down when it comes to politics and where they spending money at, because
Yeah,
they spend money on it, but we don't get it.
right. Absolutely.
You know,
Right.
so
We get the scraps of the money of the ends.
right.
And so and so my next question is, because you kind of hit on it a little bit and all that you were saying. Um, so what partnerships or collaborations would you like to see urban farmers and educators and even local government um, come together and do? Because I know also, I know you personally. I've worked with you. I've been in the gardens with you. We also talked about, bringing the schools and the gardens together. So what kind of partnerships and collaborations would you like to see between these different sectors in the community?
So I would say like to see a partnership like I done with our African family with Miss Kendra London. We have a memorandum of understanding written for a year in what our purpose is and how we gonna work together. And we need to commit. So we need to actually be signing up and getting our contracts together. I know a lot of people don't like to hear nothing about contracts and stuff like that, but if we don't have an understanding of what we gonna do and it written out and a date and a time so we can come back and we can stay in line so we can make sure that everybody is doing their portion and their position. You know what I'm saying? That's what you do after meetings, that's what you do after events. But a lot of people don't want to have the breakdown. Look, you got to hold people accountable. And people don't want to be held accountable. The minute you start talking about, hey, bro, you said this, but you didn't do that. Ah, da, da, da. So it make a big old, nothing that people don't want to deal with. You know what I'm saying? And so
Right,
we don't have I want to say the Robert rules of order in our spirit to be able to communicate with each other. Because if we I do the Urban Farmers Conference every year and I invite the city every year. You know what I'm saying, to
yeah,
participate. I do that. I'm still gonna do that. It looks like that everybody will be contributing towards when the springtime come, we prepared and everything ready to bring people into the city of Houston to demonstrate for a ripple effect all across the country on how we grow food and partner with the rural areas, the city, and set a standard for what's good for us and let
yeah,
that be the standard. You know what I'm saying? We do that through a conference. You know what I'm saying? Everybody's doing these gardens and stuff now. I'm not telling nobody they wrong. It's a 1,000 ways to do it. I like learning. So I like learning and seeing different things than what I've done. Or seeing somebody do something that's close to it, because we don't do the same thing, but
right,
it'll grow. You know what I'm saying? But and it can grow more. And not only that, but I think we need to be keeping our data on it. That means knowing how much we growing. You know what I'm saying? And then that'll
right,
put us together with markets because it's easy with the kids. I just left from Booker T. Washington up there voting. When they talked to the agriculture teacher, I got schools lined up. I can't do it by myself. Matter of fact, I'm gonna be frankly honest with you. Uh, the one candidate for District 18 that came to see me was Carmen, and she's from Venezuela, and she looked white. You know what I'm saying? And people been telling me, and they've been attacking me. You know what the Republican? Listen, I don't care anybody that say they want to help the urban farmer. You got to remember, I'm working with them because this language that I use in farming and garden, it crosses all kind of barriers. Everywhere you go, you need it. Everywhere you go,
right.
you need to be able to communicate. You know, getting that good food. That's all it is
Right.
to it.
Right. And so and I love talking to you because everything that I'm about to ask you, you be hitting on it. And what are some grassroots ways that communities can come together right now to fill in the gap left, by the snaps being stopped and held, withheld, things like that. What can the community be doing right now to support each
De-
other?
Definitely, everybody got to help in the garden. You know what I'm saying? I already said I'm gonna be doing a urban farmers tour, so all the gardens that I go to with my friends, I'm gonna be asking people to come, be willing to work first of all. Get your hands in it. We're gonna have the project set up, but you're gonna learn something too. And we need to put
Right.
farming and gardening back on the top of the list on the table of human rights that it's a right for every human being to know how to do this stuff. And it's a choice. You know, if you don't want to know it, then you just gonna be begging and asking. That's all. But there, the harvest is plenty. The workers are fruit. You know what I'm saying? We had to get to the reality of this here. That's why they stole people and brought them over here because they wanted to produce and they saw how much more they were producing and they was making a living off of them. I don't need to make a living off nobody. Everybody can make a living off themselves. You know what I'm saying? The corporations, you go to work for them. I keep been telling people for years, we done paid in the Social Security. Ain't none of this stuff paying off now. You can keep saying that it's paying out, but it's not. The work is gonna make us healthier and it's gonna make us see what's the priority. The priority is what's important. And that's people knowing where their food come from and how to get it and who got it and what to do with it.
Absolutely, I agree with you. Man, this is powerful. I already knew when I saw you with the red, black, and green, it was going to be a powerful conversation. I didn't have this on earlier. I just put this on before we talked, so I already felt the energy. But my last question I have to you this evening, this afternoon, is if you could leave our listeners with one message about the connection between nourishment, empowerment, and just civic engagement, what would it be?
uh, Come experience Sunday dinner. That's the only way that I can explain it because it's an organic thing. And if you start your own Sunday dinner, and I'm telling you, just be open to just be willing to give what you got. It's a story in the Bible in Acts on the day of Pentecost. People just brought what they had, and it was enough. We have to
Right,
realize that if it's us, that it's enough. But everybody got to
right,
do their part and portion. You got to be willing to do your part. If you're not willing to do your part, then it's gonna be a rugged ride. It ain't gonna be smooth. You know what I'm saying? It's gonna be some ups and downs so bad that it's almost like it's hard to recover by yourself. But as my age, when I get down sometime, I need a little help getting up. We all gonna get back to that point. Some of us can jump down and move around, but we have to balance. My main thing is I'm here to give the gift of what I have already. I don't want somebody to have to relearn by themselves when I can show them some things in reality. In 3 months, you get a harvest. I can guarantee you, if you plant
right,
seeds of things that you want to grow, you can get a harvest. But you might have to do some nurturing in between. You got to do some watering. You got to make sure that the ground is conducive so you can get the greatest reward. And it's depending on if you want a great reward. I just know that when people start growing stuff, we all get out there and start working together. It's a certain pride of coming together. They get woved in there
right,
because in the garden there are many different plants and stuff in the garden. On farmland, they separate stuff. Ain't nothing wrong with neither one of them. It's just the idea. It's depending on what you're growing and how much you're growing. If you're growing for yourself and your neighbors and stuff, good. It's a garden. Everybody can share with each other and stuff and help work together with each other and share the tools. You know what I'm saying? We don't have to all own it. We can own it together. That's what this earth is about. This is one earth. That's the one thing I would say is this one earth, y'all. It's one earth. I ain't trying to go nowhere else. I want to make this the best place possible for people for life to continue to go on and to be pleasant. You know what I'm saying? I don't want to stay on the rat wheel. I don't want to torture myself. Let me put it that way. So, let's separate and get with our people who we know we can work with and then unify in what y'all working on. And if it's a garden, let's unify in it. Let's be committed. It's easy to set these things up. It's different ideas. I show people this all the time. It's left up to you. I'm a catalyst. You know what I'm saying? I'm a there ignite the fire. You know what I'm saying? Once I get the fire started, I'm rolling. It's many places to go and things to do all across this world. There's a lot of places I want to go and a lot of places I want to be and a lot of things I want to start all over because I know where it's at.
right.
And that's what I'm doing. made us do is move around. You know what I'm saying? I don't try to possess it in the sense that I want to keep people away. I want to possess it in the way that I could share it.
Right.
So the gift of giving is the powerful thing. The government does not give. The government goes down. It pulls you down. It's
Right.
good for us to not depend on the government, but us actually govern ourselves. You know what I'm saying? The government don't have to come in if we ain't got no problems. See, if we got a problem, then we want to run and call the police. You know what I'm saying? We don't know how to reason with each other. You know what I'm saying? We don't
Right.
know how to let live. You know what I'm saying? You know, I'm moving on. You know, I ain't here to squabble. I tell people that all the time. I'm not the one to squabble. Even though my record might say otherwise, but ain't nobody had no squabble with me, but they already know I'm going to stick to what I'm talking about. And I've been sticking in this farming in this garden.
Yes. And I want to say thank you so much for just being so solid and dedicated to the garden and our food sovereignty here in Houston, Texas. Um, One of the most revolutionary things you can do is feed somebody and feed yourself. And I think we have taken it for granted, and now people are scrambling. People trying to learn how to grow some lettuce. Now people are scrambling, and it's not that it's too late. You know what I'm saying? Actually, it's right on time, but
Right on time, right? It's just prime time.
it's prime time, and it just
That's the
shows
main
you
thing.
how far removed. When you're so busy consuming, and you're a consumer, you forget from which you came. When you before, you was mixing instant potatoes, you was peeling them. So we got to go back
Right,
to what we used to do. And so and guess what that means? It means you have to work, and it means labor, and it means getting stop being not being lazy too as well. And so this is a message for our community to now start being more aware, more observant, and start putting the work in, and stop waiting for somebody to come and save you. They're not coming to save you. They really came to handicap you. So
right.
you
They
can
want
depend on them.
they want you
So when
to
it's
they
time to
want you to
vote,
live off somebody else.
right? So when it's time to vote, you know, I'm not gonna vote against this because they doing XYZ for me, and no, really, that's how they're controlling you. And so I just want to say thank you so much. You hit on so many great topics that I hope people are listening and they hear you. And we're going to I support you. I adopted the garden. I'm going to be out there soon. I've
Yeah.
been busy. I had
We got
the gala this
we
past weekend, so, and even with the gala, the purpose of doing that. And I said it Saturday night. I said, this is bigger than getting dressed, looking good, and coming to eat some food. I
mhm.
I use I use the internet. I use that to bait you here, to get you here.
Right, right,
But
right, right.
but
Now we got to put it together.
yeah, and so I said, look around you. Look at everybody who's in here. We got everything that we need. There's no reason why we should be going outside of our community to ask for something that we already have. We got the lawyers, attorneys, the gardeners, the farmers. We got the security. We got the people who work with the youth, the people who stand for, the crime, violence intervention, at-risk youth. We got everything that we need, but
Right,
instead we keep asking somebody else to do something, and it's almost like we don't believe in our own people, which also means you don't believe in yourself on why we can't get this done. And so that's where we
right.
at.
Exactly. But that's the piece right there. See how you put people together and let them see what they was good at and what they was doing and how it all goes together. You know what I'm saying? How it's sustainable. You know what I'm saying? When you got everything, that's a town. You know what I'm saying? That's a community. You know what I'm saying? That's future generations that come out of that. That's
Right.
growth. You know, if you only planning for you planning for a short term.
There we
I've
go.
been playing the long game. Way after I'm gone, there's some stuff gonna come up. I'm like Marcus Garvey said, in my grave, I'm gonna be a terror. I ain't gonna play
Hey,
with him.
hey, big Marcus Garvey patch right there. Come on. But
Mm-hmm.
um, but thank you so much, brother Kelvin. And we're gonna keep asking people to continue to vote today. Today's election day until
Yes,
7
yes.
o'clock. It's 4:54, so you can look on what is it? Is it Harris Votes? I
Yeah,
think. And
yeah.
you can go on there and find your nearest voting poll in your community, and you can go ahead and go vote. Um, we hope that you have done your due diligence and you have looked at the people who are running, as well as the things that you will be voting for and on. And we wish everybody the best. Thank you again, Brother Kelvin. And this is Real Eyes, Real Eyes, Real News. And we'll be talking with y'all soon. Peace and power.
Peace.